Welcome to our special episode for today. What happens if the red wolf merged with the Arctic fox into one body? Follow us to find out. But first, let's get to know the environmental life of each of them. The red wolf. The red wolf is a species of wolf that belongs to the Canidae family. Known for its reddish-brown coat, it is one of the most endangered mammals in North America. The red wolf has a unique place in the ecology of its region, though it has faced significant threats to its survival due to human activity. Historically, the red wolf was found across the southeastern United States, primarily in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and Alabama. However, due to habitat loss and human persecution, their range has dramatically shrunk. Today, the remaining population of wild red wolves is primarily located in the Alligator River National Wildlife Refuge in North Carolina. Conservation efforts have included breeding programs and the reintroduction of captive-bred wolves into the wild. Red wolves are smaller than their gray wolf cousins. They typically measure between 105 to 130 centimeters in length from head to tail, with a weight range of 20 to 30 kilograms. As the name suggests, red wolves have a reddish-brown coat, often with grayer fur on their backs, legs, and face. Their belly, chest, and underparts are usually lighter in color. They have a slender, wolf-like body with long legs, a pointed snout, and large, upright ears. Red wolves are social animals and live in small family groups or packs. These packs are typically composed of a breeding pair and their offspring. They cooperate in hunting, caring for pups, and defending their territory. Red wolves are carnivores and mainly hunt small to medium-sized animals, such as deer, rabbits, squirrels, and small mammals. They may also scavenge when prey is scarce, feeding on carrion. Unlike some wolf species that hunt alone, red wolves usually rely on cooperation within the pack to catch prey. Red wolves generally mate in January or February, and the female gives birth in spring. Litters typically consist of 4 to 6 pups, which are cared for by both parents and other pack members. The pups stay with their parents for up to a year before becoming independent. The red wolf is critically endangered and has been one of the most challenging species to protect. Its population has been drastically reduced due to habitat loss, hunting, and genetic dilution through interbreeding with gray wolves and coyotes. The hybridization with gray wolves and coyotes has made it difficult to distinguish the red wolf from other canid species, and this genetic mixing has significantly impacted the species' survival. Since the 1980s, conservationists have been working to protect and restore the red wolf population. These efforts include breeding programs in captivity, reintroduction programs, and the establishment of protected wildlife refuges. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has been involved in efforts to protect the red wolf in its native range, though legal and environmental challenges persist. The red wolf was first described in 1839 by John A. Gordon. There has been considerable debate about its exact taxonomic status, with some researchers suggesting it is a hybrid species, arising from the interbreeding of gray wolves and coyotes. Recent genetic studies support the theory that the red wolf is a distinct species, though its genetic lineage is closely related to both gray wolves and coyotes. The exact evolutionary history of the red wolf is still a topic of research. Historically, red wolves were seen as a threat to livestock, leading to intense hunting and trapping by settlers and farmers. They were often persecuted, and their numbers dwindled. In modern times, education and awareness campaigns have aimed to highlight the importance of protecting the red wolf and its role in maintaining ecological balance in its environment. As apex predators, red wolves help control populations of prey species, such as deer and rabbits. This predation plays a vital role in maintaining the health and balance of the ecosystem by preventing overgrazing and promoting biodiversity. By keeping prey populations in check, red wolves indirectly benefit plant life and other animals in the food chain. The red wolf is closely related to both the gray wolf and the coyote. It is believed to be the result of hybridization between these two species, though it has distinct behavioral and ecological traits that differentiate it from both. The red wolf is one of the most endangered species in the world, with only a small population remaining in the wild. Conservation efforts are crucial to ensuring the species' survival, and these efforts are ongoing through breeding programs, habitat protection, and legal measures. Despite the challenges, the red wolf remains an important part of North America's biodiversity and an iconic species for conservationists working to protect threatened wildlife. The Arctic fox. The Arctic fox is a type of fox that lives in cold polar regions, especially in the Arctic regions of the Earth. This fox is known for its great ability to adapt to the harsh environmental conditions in frozen regions. The Arctic fox has unique characteristics that make it an interesting species in the world of polar mammals. The Arctic fox is characterized by its medium size. The body length is usually between 46 to 68 centimeters, while the tail is about 30 to 40 centimeters long. The Arctic fox usually weighs between 3 to 9 kilograms, and its weight is more dense in the winter to help it resist the cold. One of the most prominent characteristics of the Arctic fox is its thick and soft fur. In the winter, its fur is thick, soft, and perfectly adapted to the harsh cold conditions. Its color in the winter is pure white, which helps it camouflage itself in the snow, while in the summer its color becomes brown or gray-brown. Its ears are short and pointed, which help it conserve heat. The Arctic fox is characterized by its long, thick tail, which it can wrap around its body as a cover to protect it from the cold. The Arctic fox is found in the Arctic regions and lives mainly in the Arctic tundra and parts of Siberia, Alaska, Canada, Denmark, and Scandinavia. Can also be found on some Arctic islands. The Arctic fox can withstand low temperatures of about -50 degrees Celsius, making it one of the most cold-adapted animals in the world. It usually lives in open snow-covered lands and tundra mountains, where the environment is harsh and cold. The Arctic fox is a merciless animal that depends on small animals and birds for its food. It feeds mainly on mice, rats, ducks, geese, fish, and some plants in the summer. Sometimes, it may feed on the corpses of other animals that have been hunted by other predators. The Arctic fox is able to live in an environment poor in food resources, as it remains active and searches for prey at different times of the day. The Arctic fox is a somewhat social animal, but is mostly considered a solitary animal. It will sometimes gather with other foxes during the winter when food resources are available. The Arctic fox can live in small groups in areas where food sources are plentiful. These groups are not permanent, as the Arctic fox prefers to be alone most of the time. It is mostly nocturnal, meaning that it hunts and forages at night or in the early hours of the morning. The mating season for the Arctic fox usually occurs between February and March. The female gives birth in the spring, after a gestation period of 51 to 57 days. The litter usually consists of 5 to 10 pups. The pups are blind and helpless at birth, and do not begin to leave the nest until about 3 weeks later. At 2 to 3 months of age, the pups begin to learn to hunt from their mother and gradually leave the nest. The pups are usually ready to become independent at about 6 months of age. The Arctic fox has an exceptional ability to adapt to the cold. It has very thick fur, which helps it to conserve heat inside its body. In the winter, the thickness of the fur doubles to protect it from freezing temperatures. The Arctic fox has evolved to have the ability to store fat under its skin to protect itself from the cold, which also helps save energy during difficult hunting periods. The Arctic fox is a relatively stable species in its environment, but it may face certain threats such as climate change and hunting. Rising temperatures can affect the polar environment and lead to a reduction in the areas in which the Arctic fox lives. Human hunting for fur is also considered another threat to this species. In some areas, the Arctic fox migrates to other areas in search of food when it faces a shortage of resources. The Arctic fox shares its habitat with a group of other animals such as polar bears, polar wolves, and snow hares. Although the Arctic fox is considered a small predator, it may be exposed to conflict with larger animals such as polar bears, which can be a threat to it due to their large size and strength. The Arctic fox is known to search for other prey when food is limited and can feed on the carcasses of other animals killed by larger predators. The Arctic fox makes a range of sounds, such as sharp barks and screams, which it uses to communicate with other foxes or to defend itself. The Arctic fox is a symbol of the ability to survive in the harshest conditions. In many cultures, it is referred to as an animal that represents resilience and endurance. In popular culture, the Arctic fox is seen as a symbol of the wild nature of the polar regions. The Arctic fox is an amazing animal thanks to its ability to adapt to the harsh environmental conditions of the polar regions. It lives in an extremely cold and snowy environment, where it adapts to low temperatures through thick fur and layers of fat that protect it from the cold. Thanks to its white color in winter, it is considered one of the best animals that can camouflage itself in the snow. It is one of the small predators that play a role in maintaining the ecological balance in its natural environment. Finally, let's explore what happens if the red wolf merges with the Arctic fox into one body. We would have a creature that combines the strength and intelligence of the red wolf with the extreme cold endurance of the Arctic fox. This creature would have a strong and flexible body structure similar to the red wolf, with thick and soft fur like the Arctic fox to adapt to cold environments. It would combine the planning and organizational intelligence of the red wolf, along with its individual hunting skills, with the Arctic fox's intelligence in adapting to harsh environments and hunting in ice. It would be capable of living in small groups like the red wolf but could also be a solitary predator like the Arctic fox. Thanks to the Arctic fox's traits, this creature would have a high ability to adapt to cold, snowy environments, while retaining the flexibility of the red wolf to adapt to moderate environments. This concept illustrates how the traits of these two creatures can integrate to produce a unique hybrid creature that possesses a mix of strength, intelligence, and adaptability. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more interesting topics. See you.